Stay Alive is a survival horror tabletop role playing game with elements of violence, emotional trauma, biological infection, and may include other mature content or themes. Viewer discretion is advised.
Government officials insist that this is an isolated incident so that damage is prevented. Events will not perhaps. We will continue to keep you informed.
Last we left our survivors, the two from Rescue Station Delta and the two forged along the pathway forward. Our survivors, Rose and Justin, happened upon a small rural gas station, stopped for a brief moment looking to gather up supplies when they were approached by someone claiming to be a pilot, a willing ally, friend, and with some questions in his background, ultimately tried to ally himself with our survivors. Fortunately, to our new friend's benefit, Rose and Justin also provided information that the gas station they had just left in a hurry may in fact be inhabited by other dangers as well. A short while later, those dangers were in fact revealed to be the Bonnie and Clyde-esque duo survivors Crow and Dee. Making their way through unknown means and for thus far unknown purposes, Crow and Dee revealed themselves to our pair of remaining survivors, where ultimately the four of them and their new temporary companion in the form of Wade all agreed to move towards Vegas in continuation of their original approach, with the promise of potential aircraft transport to expedite the rest of their journey. As the collection of our tedious, balanced truce began to make their way towards the outskirts of inner city Vegas, the party encountered a rather large and seemingly government-installed barricade. Not monitored, manned, or defended, but something in place that had cut off the roadway, essentially limiting their vehicle traversal from that point forward. Getting out of their vehicle, navigating forward, and winding through the twisted maze of overturned cars and scattered debris, a pair of our survivors saw some nefarious actors hiding and lying in wait at some unknown distance. For any number of reasons, or for none whatsoever, Rose opted to keep this information to herself. Dee seemingly coordinating more with Crow than having any general party concern, and Wade, the party's lost and found ally, revealed the true dangers that lie lurking in the shadows ahead after taking an axe to the back. A group of marauding chainsaw wielding, pipe holding ruffians of sorts seem to indicate that our survivors not only presented a fun and entertaining prospect, but a functional one as well. And despite the party's gathered resources, Dee with a small sidearm, and Justin having procured a fully automatic pistol from previous assailants, this collection of menacing assailants began moving towards the party, wielding a variety of melee weapons, and towards Crow specifically. A rather large, loud, notable rescue saw. Arming himself with a wrapped chain, Justin, steadying and readying his shots, Rose armed with a fireman's axe, and Dee yet to reveal the procurement of said pistol. You see this scattering of upwards of a dozen hidden individuals exposing themselves from behind overturned cars, drawn tarps, and debris scattered across the road to provide makeshift hiding spots cultivated for this purpose. You are ambushed with a number of menacing threats in front of you. Survivors. What happens next?
I would like to open fire at the individual who is currently running towards Crow.
Okay. I would like for you to please make a accuracy effort to put your shots on target.
I would like to use one of my well-prepareds for that, please and thank you.
Of course.
Six.
Okay. So as this lumbering individual begins moving towards Crow, you see the sparks kick off the ground as Crow whips the chain towards the cement before this small burst of automatic fire comes out of your small handheld weapon, immediately darting across his form. Drops the chain down. Holds for a brief moment, not reacting to any stimuli as you see all of the people surrounding him freeze for a brief moment. There's this very quick and temporary stalemate where the burst of the gunfire has put everything on a brief pause as you see this huge mountain of a man breathing heavy, head drawn and down. Head eventually raises up again. You see the blood pouring from 3 small shots across the torso. And raises the rescue saw up and begins charging towards Crow at full speed.
All right. So as he starts charging towards me, I just want to plant my feet and I want to wait for the moment where he brings the saw down and commits to it, and then try to sidestep, wrap the chain around his neck, and then just yank.
I'm gonna say make a brawling check for me. I'm gonna say out of desperation. However, we do also have an active hype train, so you'll be provided an automatic well prepared also. So please roll both.
Right. $19.
Sure. Okay. So as this individual comes charging at you, the saw itself completely revving up, there's this moment where you swing the chain, clash it directly alongside the rescue saw's frame. Clearly this burst, this lumbering lurch, something of a last-ditch effort combined with some compulsory, instinctual aggression. But the body is not willing to cooperate with the spirit or mind based on the force that you impart, and immediately wrap the chain around the individual's neck as you see the chain stumble and fall to the ground, cutting directly up the asphalt as you hear it bouncing back and forth. I'm going to say you have the individual in your grasp and they're currently grappled. While this is taking place, the rest of you are immediately blitzed by the surrounding assailants. What would you all like to do?
I'm gonna draw my gun, check, make sure it's ready to rock and roll, and then I'm gonna fire at whoever is closest.
Okay. Go ahead and make 2 efforts to be as accurate as possible. I'm sorry, before you do, make an effort to harness your grit, the stress in the situation. I'll give you focus as well, if you'd prefer that.
Oh, yes, please, thank you.
Okay. I'll give you focus
Okay.
as well.
And this is well prepared, right? Because
It is still
Beautiful.
well prepared, yes?
Okay. So for a focus roll, that was 11.
Okay, so go ahead and roll your 2 separate shots there. Rose and Justin, after peppering this large individual's frame with this small caliber bullet, not enough maybe to put them down immediately, but clearly more than enough to put them on the clock. And it seems as if Crow has more or less moved himself into position to address what energy that individual might have left. What are either of you two doing? And D, what is your accuracy efforts here?
I get a little distracted because, Crow out here being sexy as hell. So I rolled a 5 and then I rolled an 11.
Okay. So your first round just swings high over the shoulder of one of these crazed individuals charging directly at. There's this wooden post, something akin to a club that has a singular large spiked nail through it, something that seems more industrial in its design rather than hardware or some kind of construction type of material, bent almost like this crude pickaxe coming down directly on top of you. You do land a second shot, almost perfectly clean in his torso. And as that club follows through to swing, the point, the piercing component of the makeshift pickaxe goes over your shoulder to grapple on. You are knocked down as this individual's force is great and considerable, but you don't actually receive any significant damage from the weapon or the strike itself. Rose and Justin, what are you looking to do?
Seeing that Rose isn't immediately, jumping into action, I would like to just kind of sidestep in front of her and go into, Call of Duty, combat mode. I'm reserving ammo. I'm pop, 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 as much as possible, just trying to get anyone making their way towards us specifically, just trying to, just center a mass, just try to stop them in their tracks.
Okay. And Rose, as Justin steps in to provide something in the way of a defensive barrier between you and these rushing assailants, are you preparing any specific type of response or looking to execute any specific type of action?
Okay. So I think I'm going to tighten my raccoon so it doesn't get loose. I'm going to very
Naturally.
carefully set the water down on the ground, and I'm like clutching this giant axe as tightly as I can. I'm trying to like get it ready just in case. I'm really hoping I don't have to use it. Also, I am trying to catch sight of Wade. Can I see from here if he's breathing? No.
He's now probably 20 feet away from you, peering face down on the ground. The axe pulled and removed out of his back, one of 3 individuals now rushing towards you in close proximity.
Okay. Yeah, I'm just gonna hold on to this axe, and then if anybody gets close enough, I'm just gonna swing.
Okay. Rose, make a preemptory effort to brawl in the event that your bubble is breached.
Okay. I'll do my best. Okay.
You'd be well prepared as well, I believe, right?
Sure. Okay.
Yep.
4.
Okay. For Rose, that's not terrible.
Pretty good.
Dustin, you now see 3 individuals charging your direction. One that appears to be a little bit more lanky in their overall frame, wearing a large collection of tattered rags that drape across one side. A great deal of dried coloring of some sort along one side, and what appears to be sort of a mid-size axe or hatchet raised in the air as they begin to rush towards you. Directly behind 2 individuals, one of them a little larger, certainly not rescue axe or rescue saw size, but wielding a sledgehammer, moving and lumbering a little bit more slowly. And then another one that appears to have a functional or rudimentary styled kitchen knife. What would you like to do?
As far as I'm concerned, anyone who's getting close to us, like if anyone is so like I can't obviously stop all of the combat from happening, but I'm gonna keep myself and Rose, who at this point is the only other person in this group that I really care anything about. Sorry, I hate to break it to y'all, D and Crow, but so I'm gonna protect me and mine. So anyone who comes near me,
Okay.
I'll shoot.
Do me a favor and make 2 separate efforts to be accurate with your weapon here.
Absolutely.
I'm gonna have you give me an effort to focus first.
Okay. All right. And these are all well prepared from the hype train?
They are.
Okay. The focus is a 9. And then my accuracy rolls are 10 and 5.
Okay. With so much going on, a high stress situation, whether it is your ability to maintain from your previous experiences or simply needing to develop a quiet mind in situations of great stress, you quickly hearken back to the encounter with Jamie where you collected this weapon, checked it after the fact, 3 across on the charging rescue saw, readying shots, and it is this focus, this stillness of mind that provides you an opportunity to recall and emphasize exactly where your shots need to go. And as 2 rounds are expended pushing towards this individual that is now gaining quick proximity in your area, you see them quickly slump and fall to the ground. And on your second shot lining up, putting a round just off the edge of a shoulder, certainly not enough to immediately down this individual, but more than enough, it seems, to have them quickly dive behind a car, concerned and otherwise injured. And that's when you see the bolt on the weapon stay in the locked back position, your last round expended.
Awesome.
There's a third individual now pushing and charging towards you. I'm actually going to have to contest against, I think, Rose in this one, since you had 2. Okay, so as you put 2 shots quickly on target, conserving your ammo, making sure that both are dealt with and your assailants are dissuaded from continuing forward, you're moving to position yourself to take a third shot at the remaining person charging towards you when the large sledgehammer swings down at your hands as you shift into position to take this third shot, only realizing moments before your hands are smashed with this hammer that the bolt has remained back and your rounds have been expended in the mag. Rose, I would like for you to please make an effort to harness your grit in this situation.
Okay.
Actually, you know what? I'll make this a notice. This is more of a notice.
Okay. All right. Do you want me to re-roll that, or it's the same?
No.
Right? It's fine.
Whatever
It's
you
already
had, it's
rolled.
fine.
It's already okay. So plus a well prepared. So 14.
Okay, sure. So as this individual is charging forward, you see the hammer swing up. Your instinctual reaction, fear and shrinking down a bit, and you both hear the click. This ringing from gunfire in such close proximity certainly a standout that is jarring, but you also hear the click and see as Justin shifts his form, the bolt remaining back and open. You're able to quickly assess that the weapon ran out of ammo and Justin is about to take a third shot with an empty weapon. And you're able to quickly make a reaction, having spotted it in time. Would you like to use your brawling in this circumstance, or are you waiting?
If I react, I'm reacting to the individual that's swinging towards Justin, correct?
Correct.
Then yes, I will just kind of instinctively swing at this person with this giant hammer.
Okay, your brawling was a 4, correct?
Yeah, it was really good. Let's keep that in mind. It was really, really good.
You're not wrong. Okay.
I don't like that you're...
So, Rose, recognizing something happening and being able to respond to it efficiently and effectively are 2 very different things. Our sweet Rose moving into position. Justin, you find the head of this hammer crashing down upon the outside of your wrist. I'm actually going to need you to make an effort to harness your grit to maintain control of your weapon.
Sure, just a straight grit roll.
Straight grit.
Okay. This feels important. I would like to use my well prepared on this.
As you wish.
Yeah, that's not my best ability. That's a 4.
Okay. So, as you feel this hammerhead impact with the outside of your forearm, if you had moved 1 inch up or down, it probably would have been nowhere near as impactful. If the individual hadn't been so accurate or lucky, hard to say in either case, probably wouldn't have had quite the issue, but Crow, just slightly in front of and offset from Justin, and D, probably at a slight angle directly in front of you, you see Justin's arm thrown askew as the pistol in his hand goes flying about 10 feet away. The open bolt dragging across the ground, indicating it's empty, but also, Justin, your reaction to the impact right away, not particularly noticeable. Adrenaline in the heat of the moment, though you know what you heard, the slight crunch. You look to quickly see the inflammation building nearly instantly as Rose charges forward and levies the axe towards this individual, digging it into the upper portion of their side as they are recovering from swinging the sledgehammer your direction. Immediately, this guttural scream crying out, the hammer-wielding individual looking to make a follow-up attack. Before moving that direction, Crow, you have control of one of the largest and most threatening assailants of the bunch. D, directly behind Crow, now over top and maneuvering into position. This large individual, you see Crow being approached by another 4 of these marauders from behind. What would you like to do?
Did you say 4?
There's upwards of a dozen that started when they first emerged.
My goodness. Okay. How close is the one right beside me? Is he right beside me? He was
Crow
approaching
is
me.
Crow is currently choking and grappling with one that's probably about 5 feet in
Crow's
front of
got
you,
that.
give or take. There's another that's going to be about 5 feet beyond that looks to be headed your direction, and probably 15, 20 feet, another collection of 3.
Okay. But the person that was coming towards me.
They're still coming
okay.
towards you. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm going to. Ooh, sorry, y'all. You're gonna be fine. I'm gonna try to fire another shot at the one that's approaching me, and then I'm gonna start taking steps towards Crow. I'm gonna let him have his space, and I'm gonna also kind of try to just ping the ones that I can get a decent shot without putting any allies in risk.
Make an effort to focus on the prioritization of targets and the likelihood of successful shots for each here.
So just one focus roll.
Yep.
8.
Okay. Please make for me 2 separate rolls to be as accurate as possible in your effort. Crow, as you see D pulling out the pistol and beginning to rattle off shots that she is lining up, you have this individual in your grapple. What would you like to do?
Well, I see all this happening with Justin and kind of sense the people trying to move in on me.
I'll say go ahead and make an effort to notice, but it'll be out of desperation given your current situation.
Goose egg. I don't notice. All right.
Crow is very focused on this one thing.
Do the thing that I'm focused on and the thing that I am good at. And I'm just going to say, you know what? He who goes into battle knows when to fight and when not. And this fight is over. And I'm going to take my leg and step it around in front of him, almost like I'm about to do a sweep. And you said the saw was down on the ground, right?
Yeah, he's kind of basically leaning over it, still holding like the handle and the guard piece, hunched over it, trying to stand up and stabilize.
I would like to move that leg around in front of his leg, sweep him and drop him down onto his own saw.
The top of it is sort of like protected and guarded specifically to avoid that kind of thing. So I will say you can definitely try to do that, but it'll be a very difficult maneuver to both kick the saw out to expose the actual blade on bottom and then try to push the individual through it. If that's what you would like to try and do.
Yeah, let's give it a try.
All right, make an effort to brawl for me, please.
Big money, no whammies. That's a 5 on the die, so 16.
Okay. No. Okay. So, despite this individual's strength, despite this individual's size, despite their clear propensity towards violence in all things and easily being able to have their way in any number of encounters short of this one. Total of 0 sees you squeezing the chain over a prolonged period of time as you use your elbow to immediately see his form rocked, dropping the saw to the ground, quickly maneuvering into position, putting your leg over top, flipping the saw over manually, and then using your hands to drag the two together as you hear the saw begin to spin up. Crow amping up on the revving mechanism as you hear this choking noise before the tension against your cabled chain goes slack. The individual clearly no longer in fighting form.
And then just to make sure he doesn't come back to bother us, I would like to take the saw and just separate his head from his body.
Okay.
And then look at everybody else and just kind of say, you still want to do this?
So with a huge rip, as you see Crow begin to carve through this secondary natured individual, I'm going to say, I'll give you, technically this would be diplomacy or influence, so you can, I will let you choose whichever you would like to try and put an effort together to scare off the remaining foes here.
They are apparently not scared of me. That's a 2 for influence.
Okay. Well, potentially helped by D in the immediate follow-up. What were your rolls for accuracy?
My rolls were a 5 and a 9.
Okay. So, Crow, as you rev up this chainsaw, you're looking out at the remainder of these assailants still coming towards you. Your left ear quickly buzzing and ringing for a brief moment as two of these shots immediately ring out D behind you, sending rounds down range as the closest individual to you, probably up on you in a quick moment, immediately down, thrown to the ground. Less than half a dozen in total viable, effective foes still remaining in front of you. Another one immediately topples from the top of a car, running up and over like the metallic hillslide, trying to come towards the pair of you, disappearing, falling in between two cars as a round seems to connect, sending them to the ground, toppling off of the roof. The two that have yet to gain immediate melee proximity with you immediately stop, second guessing. You see them duck behind two cars. They do not immediately turn and run, but two of the distant individuals, the last collection, the set that would have potentially continued to pursue and reinforce this marauding band, immediately turn and flee. Seeing very few friendly heads up above and a number of all of you still very much intact and fighting fit. They're not particularly interested in engaging much further, it would seem. You do still have two of these immediate assailants, one nearby behind a car, and another one that D, you can see just the very edge of, looking to lean behind a small tipped over truck, using the flatbed as some kind of makeshift cover for the moment. However, after these shots ring out, Justin recoiling from the smash to his forearm, and Rose now standing directly across from the assailant of the pair of you, having just been chopped in the side, no immediate opportunity for escape or ability to assess the success or failure of their allies nearby. Rose, I'd like for you to please make an effort to brawl.
I'm gonna use one of my well-prepared traits over. Okay. That's a 3.
Okay.
Well-prepareds are coming in clutch.
So, Justin, as you recoil back, holding onto your arm for a brief moment as you see this individual looking to follow up with Rose after the fire axe is awkwardly and shakily pulled out from their form, you see this large sledgehammer lifted up again, landing directly across the side of Rose's face, sending her reeling. Rose, I'll need for you to make an effort to... I'll give you grit or endurance on this.
I'll do endurance because it's a 1 instead of a 0. That's a 3.
Okay. So the force of this impact, the overall strength and comfortability of your assailants, clearly something very difficult to stand up to for most, perhaps save Crow's own unique skill set. And you find yourself hit on the side of the face, your vision quickly buzzing and blurring. And you, Justin, would see Rose fall to the ground, unconscious.
Can I throw the entirety of my weight behind my good arm at this individual? I'm just going in. Hopefully they're distracted, and I can just clock them on the side of the head with, knuckles, forearm, elbow.
Okay. I'll give you a. No, I'm gonna say that this would have to be an effort to brawl, and due to your limitations and current fracture, this is going to be made out of desperation as well.
Okay. All right. Sure. Okay. Yeah. Give me 2 seconds. It's a 4.
Okay. Fortunately, the damage sustained from Rose's axe has sapped your assailant of some of their strength. And having just delivered a powerful impact to Rose, are not quite prepared or ready for your forceful response. And as you begin charging forward, you don't land particularly clean, you don't have a particularly substantial impact, but certainly more than enough to send your assailant flying, throwing them to the ground for a brief moment as they try to scramble up. No significant damage per se, but they do begin to kind of pull themselves together as they're scrambling to get to their feet. D and Crow, as you turn and see now only Justin standing on the opposite side of the street, fighting in these small concave inlets where cars provide enough space to create these separated fighting pits. What are either of you looking to do?
I'm shooting Crow a look. You take care
How
of that,
close am
babe?
I to... Yeah. How close am I to the guy that Justin just whacked?
10 feet to Justin, 15 feet to the assailant.
Can I walk over to the assailant and let him know that you don't hit girls where I come from? And make sure he sees the error of his ways.
Okay, I'm gonna give you a effort to brawl here. I assume you're using the rescue saw?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Actually, I would like to see if this coward actually has a spine. $15.
So, as this individual begins charging forward, scrambling back to his feet, you immediately see the response to Justin. A quick check between the two of you, and as Justin's holding his forearm, trying to recover just from the exerted effort from moments previous, and you begin walking forward with this rescue saw in tow, beginning to rev it up. Your assailant quickly shifts focus to you, charging forward, looking to blow right past Justin. You would all see the rescue saw spin up, cuts the end of the hammer off mid-swipe as you see Crow immediately come backside and begin tearing through the individual, unable to resist the impact of such a devastating device as both halves of him quickly fall to the ground.
But he did have a spine after all. Not much left of it now.
At this point, one of the deepest remaining individuals, probably still in excess of 20 or so feet away, begins to turn and run, banging on the cars as they flee, trying to create something of a ruckus. The two individuals, D, that you saw hide behind the vehicles that are still probably about 15 or so feet away, ducking, scrambling, looking to try and avoid your eye line, but you do see them, you definitely see them move away. Does anyone want to try and make any efforts as your assailants look to flee the scene?
Is it possible for me to pick up the head of that hammer that I just cut off and throw it at one of them?
Actually,
Sure. I'm going to say make an effort to utilize your fitness. Yeah, just a general fitness check.
15.
Of course it is. So as you see Crow eventually release the ignition trigger for the rescue saw, bending down on the ground as D calls attention to the fleeing individuals. This quick pitch, the hammerhead rotating end over end of its now extremely short handle, as you see one of these individuals crushed directly in the center of the back as they are trying to flee and disperse. Due to the speed and impact, the assailant is floored instantly, head smashing into a car door as they stumble and fall forward, and they are extremely dazed as they try to get up and gather their wherewithal, still looking to retreat, but clearly having difficulty putting direction and distance together as you see them woozily and shakily trying to maneuver around vehicles, leaning their hands across the hood as they move.
All state. Roll Tide roll.
Rose. You come to no more than a few moments later. You see Justin holding and nursing an injured arm. Crow, at this point, boasting something of a personal trophy in this rescue saw. D, casually observing the immediate surroundings. Your vision blurred and fuzzy, your ears ringing. I'm gonna say, Justin, based on the fracture in your forearm, you're going to receive a hindrance of -1 to all accuracy efforts, and you're going to make all brawling efforts out of desperation. until your arm is healed. Rose, experiencing a significant concussion bordering on a cranial fracture, your head is fuzzy and your perception is off. As a hindrance until your concussion symptoms subside, all efforts to notice will be made out of desperation. You'll have a -2 to all efforts to focus. And that will be 48 hours at your current pace, or if you take some time to rest and make sure you're getting your head right, you could probably shake off the worst of the symptoms in a day or so. You now stand scattered around a number of assailants that have been dispatched in such a fashion, whereas most of them would not have the ability to immediately return to an undead life. However, the ones that were shot or otherwise scathed do begin to stir as their muscles, limbs, bones all start creaking and popping almost in unison. The scattered array of combat now settled, and Wade, axe removed from the back, turns a slow crawl into a shambling bear crawl, which eventually brings him to his feet. 3 now Xerk, pushing into your immediate vicinity. Crow, make an effort to brawl.
$17.
Okay. So, just cut. You never know. Okay. And is anyone looking to take alternative action as Crow once again revs up the rescue saw?
I mean, I'm.
Probably
I'll
checking
take
on Rose,
one.
frankly.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll take one of the Xerk. I'll get my hunting knife out though.
It is okay. Go ahead and make an effort to brawl for me, please. As you see Crow begin to chop down these 2 freshly minted Xerk, still somewhat mindless in their approach. They're lunging, instinctual, and easily addressed by someone as dyed in the wool as Crow. It seems as if your assistance is a benefit as the saw catches on Wade's shoulder, beginning to push up and move through. And a second Xerk from his left immediately goes in to make a grab and bite towards Crow. What was your effort to brawl?
7.
Okay. So as you see Crow's shoulder and forearm grabbed, Wade's teeth looking to sink in around his bicep. This maw looking to close down around him. Crow, you look to your left just in time to see this hunting knife jam through Wade's temple before the teeth close around the tissue.
That's why you're my ride or die.
Take care of the other one. They're gross.
In relatively easy fashion, the first one falls, quickly adjusting to unhitch the saw wheel from where it got stuck the first time. Crow finishes your second Xerk assailant. And heaving Wade's form from the end of your blade, he also falls to the ground. Justin, can you make an effort to make a first aid assessment, please?
Absolutely. To be clear, my first aid assessment is pretty much like, hey, are you all right? And like make sure that Rose is not actively bleeding out, but I'll gladly make that roll just to see what happens.
Just to see how skilled you can be, maybe.
Yeah, that's a -3.
Okay. Yeah, she got hit, so deal with that probably.
Are the insides still inside?
They appear to be, yeah. Hard to say for sure, but probably. So
hey, shake it up.
Rose is dazed. Not really a solid prognosis to address in terms of how to deal with that moving forward, but otherwise you are able to rise to your feet, continue forward, and now this largely empty bridge, aside from the debris and vehicles that stand in your path, no more immediate signs of movement. What would you all like to do?
The handle of that hammer is on the ground somewhere, right?
Probably a good 40 feet away after Crow's shot put like chuck down the street, but yeah.
I thought the head was separated from the handle.
Yep. Are you saying the handle or the head?
Yeah, the handle. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. You'd be able to do that. It's probably a couple feet long at this point and has a slightly angular cut made of rudimentary wood, clearly meant for use in a sledgehammer, but not particularly fancy as far as that's concerned.
Well, my thought is I kind of look at one of these now dead Xerks that should have relatively, like undamaged clothing, and to look and be like, would someone be willing to tear up one of those shirts and we can kind of like splint my arm maybe?
Yeah.
Thanks. I just, one hand.
It's unfortunate.
It's painful. How's the little bit?
She's still unconscious, right?
No, she's up.
She's up.
Rose is responsive.
How you feeling, baby girl?
About what?
What's your name?
My name is Rose.
All right, well, that's a good start. All right. I'm going to start trying to fix up Justin's arm a little bit.
Make an effort to apply first aid.
5.
Okay. And I'll remind you, your collected group has discovered both a large and a small medical supply cache. Are you looking to utilize either of those as part of this process?
Is there anything in there? I don't remember everything that was listed off. If there's something in there that I feel would help create this splint more effectively, because I think we had may have had some wrapping stuff that would work better than a ripped up shirt.
Sure.
I'll
say that you have better material to stabilize, probably. And since I believe you're the one who discovered it in the fire truck, there is a collection of syringes. Specifically for Justin's immediate circumstance, there appears to be a anesthesia agent. You have a morphine injection, if you're looking to utilize that as well.
Maybe when we hit the road.
we'll see.
I feel like I need to be aware of what's going on.
Okay.
Sure. That's fine with me.
So it was a 5, you said?
It was a 5.
Okay. So it's maybe not hospital quality, but the arm is wrapped, secured. It has a stable agent attached to its outside. All things being equal, it's probably about what you'd expect in the current circumstances and surrounding area. What are the rest of you looking to do?
Hey, Rose. I'm pretty sure that hit by a sledgehammer is not supposed to be literal. How you doing?
Not good.
Yeah.
Not good.
Yeah, I've taken some hits like that. You'll be all right.
I'm gonna start looking for the water. I'm just gonna start hazily scanning the ground because I know I put it down, but I can't exactly remember where.
Sure.
It can't be far, so I'm just trying to.
Not too difficult for you to vaguely retrace your steps, begin scattering and pushing around. However, as part of this process, you're able to find the water. And you see this almost like a laser pointer. Similar to the way that you would drag it up and down a wall to play with a cat. Your eye is drawn to it and it begins to lead you just behind this car, slightly angled and very, very close to the barricade that you pushed through to get further down the road. It leads you to a small toolbox. The water jug, probably only about 8 or so feet back behind you, still very confused and out of it. You look out at where this might be coming from. I'm actually going to go ahead and say, make an effort to notice here as well.
Okay. So that's at desperation. Okay, so that's 11.
Okay. So despite your fog recovery moment, despite the ringing still in your ears, the trauma and tension, you maintain a high level of control over your mind, and you begin to look out and you see a billboard, seemingly some kind of fragrance ad, only half visible as the tarp and fabric used to be glued to is already ripped and torn asunder from the weather and the wearing of time, and you see an individual wearing combat gear. Probably a good 75 or so feet away, leaned down, butt sitting directly on their heels, largely dark clothing, the silhouette standing out against the last little remnant of red, white, and probably some kind of artistic purple inclusion. You can't quite even make out what the original ad might have meant to be, but you see their silhouetted form. And as they begin to stand up, you see that they're also lowering a rifle. You see them turn and sling it to their side. Give you a small salute. Turn and shift to the edge of the billboard. Give you one last stare as you see them hook themselves into a small rappelling line. Pull something from a holster on their side as you see a flare shoot high into the sky. The entirety of the bridge around you illuminated in a bright red glow as this individual quickly slides down, disappearing into the asphalt and concrete form below, out of your eye line.
Wait.
Would anyone like to take a response to this instigation?
The fuck was that?
Does everybody see this person?
This
We
is
just saw
just
flare.
you just saw the flare, right?
I think I instinctively take a step forward, I'm gonna try to follow them, and probably kick. Forgetting this toolbox is already at my feet, kind of bump into it a little bit. Can I look inside of it?
Okay. I'm going to whisper to you, Rose.
Whispers.
Dad?
Is anyone else doing anything right away?
D, stay with him. I'm gonna see what this flare thing is all about. Make sure the little bit's all right. Yeah. Me and my new friend Power Saw are gonna go look for Rose.
Rose is readily available. She's probably now just a good 20 or so feet back from the direction that you originally came. Briefly, you see her ducking down behind a car, the water jug now in her possession. So you're able to get a sense for where Rose's location is. The road you're on slopes and slightly descends into the primary strip. The billboard in reference, not that Crow necessarily saw the individual involved, but is going to be probably about 70 or so feet away. So you'd have to sort of U down and look that direction, but make an effort to notice as you move towards the edge of the bridge.
5.
Okay. So you push towards the edge of the bridge. You don't see anybody that's likely shooting off flares. You do, however, see perhaps why they did. And you begin to see pushing out from some of these small fringes of the area, very few things immediately lit up or with power, but there is a small shambling mass of Xerk that are beginning to head towards the illuminated area.
Rose, we gotta go. We gotta go now.
I saw someone.
Yeah, there's a lot of someone's out there. We gotta go. I'm just gonna go over to Rose and just kind of scoop her up and just do.
Is Rose taking any specific action to do anything else in the meantime?
I'm gonna. I see Crow approaching. I'll slam the toolbox shut really quick and secure it closed, and I'll grab it with the water. So I'm just like arms full.
Okay. So now, toolbox in one hand, secured by a handle, probably about 2.5 or so, probably closer to 3 feet long, probably only about a foot tall, clearly heavy. The jug of water, clearly heavy. Rose is beginning to, both hands wearing these heavy-handled weights as she begins to move forward to catch up with the rest of you all. Justin or D.
I think as soon as D and I are made aware that there is danger, I'll turn to her and be like, want to head back to the car?
That's probably not a terrible idea.
Cool. Yeah.
I'm gonna have the gun out and at the ready.
Okay.
Just for any movement at this point that is not one of the 4 of us.
Okay.
Oh, I don't like
Rose, are you looking to take Crow up on his offer of carrying or shuffling any of your items for you?
Yeah. Are you reaching Crow? Is Crow reaching for Rose, or it's reaching out to like help carry things?
Help carry things and kind of shuffle you forward a little faster than what you're moving now.
Sure. Okay. I think I'll just try to hustle. As
Okay.
fast as I can.
Okay. You're on an elevated plane above the shambling Xerk below that are continuing to grow closer and closer in their proximity, but not immediately appearing more visible in your eye line as a result. Off in the distance, the direction from which your assailants both arrived from and seem to have fled to, you do begin to see these silhouetted forms shuffling forward slowly.
Are they between us and the car?
That would be back behind you on the opposite side of the barricade. So you probably would have to actually literally go back through the barricaded checkpoint to really get a gauge for that. But it seems as if the bright light, the previous gunfire, the chainsaw running loud and for a prolonged period of time, there's been more than enough indications for nearby Xerk to try and find themselves a meal.
Rose, seriously, we gotta move.
I'm going as fast as I can. Here.
Yeah.
And I'll hand him the water. 'Cause it's 5 gallons. It's bigger than the other thing.
Yeah. Okay. Justin and D, are you moving back to the vehicle?
Yes.
The vehicle has a path forward. No,
Nope.
it doesn't.
We would have to
We would
kinda
have to.
turn it around and take us a way around downtown. But as we're going, I think I'll look at you like, want to drive?
I'm a decent driver. I think.
Cool, let's get that thing fired up so we can get out of here.
Okay, are Crow and Rose pushing in towards the vehicle as well?
I think if we see them headed towards the car, then yes. Rose still has the keys. So. But yes, try to meet them there.
How close is that horde getting to us?
It's still very slow moving, and most of it is probably below you. So unless they begin to amass up, or you have a very, very specific advantage in that circumstance, you probably aren't getting up towards the top very quickly, but you can still see this shambling mass probably close to 100 or so yards away. Not covering ground particularly quickly, but they are covering ground.
I mean, I'm like double pay, like quick
Okay.
stepping, trying to keep up with Crow.
All right. So all of you loading back in, I'd like to know where we're placed in this vehicle.
I'm in the driver's seat.
Shotgun.
Okay.
I will sit in the back with Justin and hand D the keys.
All right.
I want to put the water, the saw in the trunk. Rose, can I put that case back here?
No. I found it.
Whatever. D, pistol.
Yep. Hand him the pistol as I start the car.
Do a
Okay.
tactical check. See how many
So
rounds
the
are
car
left in the mag.
kicks up. Looks like you have probably still almost a full half mag. You're looking at about 7 rounds left in this magazine specifically, separate from counting up the additional ammunition that you've procured recently. A rather large haul, a windfall of resources befalling your collective party as of late. And as you sit in the seat, immediately eject the mag, throwing it back in the well, making sure that a round is chambered, you hear your small inlaid earpiece kick up again. Crow! Oh, where the fuck are you? Where are you?
All right, y'all. I think it's time for us to be leaving Las Vegas. I say out loud to both
What the
parties.
fuck? What the fuck? You betray us, you son of a bitch. We got attacked by a goddamn chopper! What the fuck happened, Crow?
Rose, do you know who set off that red flare that went up into the sky and alerted that horde to our location?
I don't know him. I think it was a him.
So some strange dude just showed up and shot off a flare?
I mean, I guess. I don't know.
Fuck's going on here? I say to both parties.
I'm gonna say make an effort to apply. I'll give you diplomacy, influence, or sociology. Up to you.
I have a very specific skill set.
That is true. That is true.
Which one won't be negative? You said influence was one of
That
them?
is one of your options.
Okay, 5.
Okay. So, as D kicks the car to life, this allied individual in your ear clearly enduring some type of strain. And as D begins to push you out of the immediate vicinity once you've all loaded into the vehicle, driving out in reverse, limited opportunity to turn around or readjust in the area. Bro, look, there's still some of us left, but we gotta know you're on board. We want out of this shit too. We want a spot in that arc. The last lab rats weren't shit, but we were close. Get back to me. What's going on, Crow?
I'm just gonna kind of scratch my ear and just kind of palm that earpiece.
Okay.
All right, D. What do we want to do? We want to keep going forward or go back from where we came? And I'm just kind of gonna scratch my ear and look at her.
I'm glance in the rearview mirror back towards Rose and Justin. I'm gonna just kind of stare back and forth between the pair of them for a hot second, and I've never been very good about going back, but I'll follow your lead on this one.
I want to be where you are, wherever that takes us.
We should probably, just go around the strip, right, and out of town. That seems like the best course of action.
As Justin replies, you hear the earpiece vibrating, the sonic waves of more and more yelling being dispersed into your palm and clutched grip. Where are you headed?
We're heading around town.
Okay. So as you begin to back it up until you get free enough road to be able to find yourself safe from the immediate surroundings of the horde that was approaching and some of the previous threats, D, driving backwards and looking to maneuver, make an effort to focus in tight quarters with a damaged vehicle and measure up against Rose's thus far proven driving prowess.
7.
Okay. Not a particularly difficult challenge, but going backwards and trying to maintain at least a decent amount of speed does see you smash into the front of one vehicle briefly, as all of you are briefly jarred before D quickly adjusts and begins pushing you into a more open area, eventually being able to turn the car around.
when I do this, shit. Sorry, everything's fine. Let me just go make sure there's nothing. Just hold tight. I'm gonna real quick swing out of the car. Hey, Crow, you're better at cars than me. And I'm gonna swing back around and give you a look.
Yeah, you know, I prefer bikes, but I can take a look at the car. Let me make sure axle's not messed up or anything.
Just fender bender. Okay.
I probably throw the door open and throw up outside of the car after he
Oh,
jostles me around.
Yeah.
ooh, maybe you should have some of that water.
Have some water. Yeah. Shit. I'm gonna kneel because a lot of the windows are broken, so there's only so much privacy we can get. But I'm just gonna gesturing to the car. So, what the fuck's going on? This looks like a mess that I was not expecting.
Yeah, and I'm just gonna like show her the earpiece. Yeah, this thing looks like it almost got shot up by a chopper or something, and then looks pretty bad.
But they do you think they blame us? I mean, I was driving technically, I guess.
I mean, things happen, flares go off. You know, I'm pretty sure they'll understand that it wasn't your fault, but they might still hold a grudge.
I'm holding Rose's hair.
Oh no. If she is retching loud enough, and I will I will lean a little bit closer and lower my voice again. What the fuck? This wasn't part of the plan.
No, it wasn't. Whatever shut off that flare, something shot them up. They want us to come back for them.
How many, though? What are we
Said a few.
back into?
He said a few of them were still alive.
A few, but like which ones? Because like some of them, great. Some of them, they're already dead, if they're all that's left.
Look, I think we got a chance here. They can get us 2 spots on that arc. That's me and you. That's a new life. I know what the plan was. Go in, take it over, run the shit, but
Plans change. Yeah. They could have run. They didn't. That's gotta mean something. And hey, a life with you after all this wouldn't be terrible.
same goes to you. Besides, I think these 2 would bite it without us.
Yeah, especially now.
Or get bit.
Both?
Yeah.
Okay. Now what's one more person we're fucking over? It's fine. They'll be fine. They'll get over it.
Already a long list.
Yeah, they're on like page 7. Nobody looks at page 7. Okay.
I'm just gonna look at you. I'm gonna take the earpiece and I'm just gonna go.
Okay. Dee and Crow, as you are finishing this conversation and examining the fender bender damage in the exterior of the vehicle, you find yourselves finished. No one apparently the wiser, with Rose clearly dealing with some side effects and symptoms of a pretty severe concussion, and Justin, hero he is, tending to her betterment. You turn to move back, and directly across the highway divider from you, having pushed slightly out and away from the barricade, looking to get a gauge. There's not quite as much road obstruction or random debris or scattered remnants of anything in the road. Tucked between the back end of a minivan, most of its windows destroyed. A small sedan, one of the doors open, the interior dome light no longer on, the windshield cracked as if something heavy had been smashed into it. A lone Xerk, mostly withered, large degree of decay all around it, staring at the pair of you.
It's been a day. We're really not in the mood.
Directly behind this Xerk, standing almost motionless, you see this burst of movement in between the cars directly behind it at probably half the height. Almost like a really large dog was sprinting behind the vehicles or cars.
I think it's time to go.
Yeah.
Justin, get her back in there.
I'm gonna get in the car.
Car's okay, but we might not be.
Yeah, we need to go. We need to go now.
Hard agree.
Okay.
Start
Quickly
maneuvering us
jumping back into the
away.
vehicle and, getting the car started, immediately looking to push back out in your pathway forward, looking to work around the outside of the city. It's not particularly long before you are able to spy and see this lingering Xerk in the roadway slowly disappear. However, it's not from a section of movement. There is this quick disappearance where it's almost like a missing blink. You hear this telltale howl, similar to what you'd experienced not long ago. This crying shriek that extends out. And a brief moment later, directly on top of the car, a loud thud.
What?
Fuck.
Shit.
I would like to reach down and grab the seat adjust and just lean back. I don't care whose lap I'm currently in. And then just
Okay.
point the pistol up and just start firing through the roof.
Okay, I'm gonna say make an effort to be accurate in a desperate circumstance.
Not bad. 10.
Okay, so immediately pistol fire ringing out as D begins to try and control the vehicle, the tires beginning to spin around and streak out as you hear the banging stop. No immediate response or shift in direction. D, as you are driving, everybody on the lookout beginning to keep their wits about them, you see these extremely fast Xerk running. And as you begin to drive forward, you see a second barricade in the roadway. This seems deployable. This is mobile. This is not something that was constructed or meant to be significantly long-lasting. But these two metal-braced, round-shielded walls that were dropped, put up and deployed, probably some type of reinforcing metal on the backside, a large series of protruding elements looking to basically create a combat barrier for vehicles. And directly on top of the one on the left-hand side, you begin to see the muzzle flash of a small automatic burst of fire coming from one of these two embankments.
Towards us?
Towards us
Towards
or
you.
Not the sprinting Xerk?
Not the sprinting Xerk, no.
Are the sprinting Xerk on either side of us?
Both. And
Okay.
it seems as if after the windshield, which is already largely deteriorated, the mechanism in place to both detect your presence and gauge a semblance of accuracy is not particularly effective with this combination of circumstances, as the front of your vehicle is riddled with bullets. The remaining structure of the windshield largely decimated. I'm actually going to have D go ahead and just roll a raw D6 for me.
A 3.
Okay. So, as you are driving towards these resistant barricades, clearly you don't want to be charging into them at full speed.
Oh no, I would have slammed on the brakes and threw us in reverse.
The rounds fired into the front of the vehicle, shredding the engine block and some of the hydraulic components as you begin to lose control of the vehicle, crashing into the dividing wall. And as you do, you see this Xerk from on top of the car go tumbling and flipping over across the hood before beginning to bear crawl its way back up. Long, slender individual arms, feet and hands that seem to clutch the highway divider as it shuffles and continues to move forward. These clawed extremities modified and stripped away as this appears more guttural beast than any kind of Xerk that you've encountered thus far, as you hear the cries of the sprinting Xerk immediately coming up from behind you. The hunter Xerk now slowly working its way across the middle divider, staring at your collected force. What would you all like to do?
I would like to eject the magazine that I have in there now, even though there's probably still like 2 or 3 rounds left. Put a fresh one in, and then pop off a couple shots at that hunter.
Okay, go ahead and make an effort to be as accurate as possible for me, please.
7.
7. So immediately, your first shot landing square through the collarbone area, trying to adjust, and after that first shot hits, you see the Xerk leap away, disappearing behind the highway divider. You hear the scramble, you hear the clacking of bone, these protrusions that are extended from the hands, seemingly providing this new foundational platform of mobility. And just a second or two later, as you're aiming directly over the divider, you see its head pop up probably about 30 or so feet to your right before readjusting and seeing the two berserker Xerks coming at you.
How close are they?
The berserkers are probably going to be about 50 or so feet, closing very quick. The hunter Xerk is, who knows, 30 feet last time you saw.
Is this thing dead? Can it still go?
I'll try it. Can I
Okay.
turn it back on? Can I try to turn it over and now that it's doesn't have to go
So,
well.
You do hear it fighting. You do hear the engine looking to sputter. It kicks once, kicks twice, failing to turn over effectively until D finally gets the engine to rev on, and you hear this subtle hum. A number of emergency and warning lights immediately activating. The car's horn turning on as soon as you begin to turn the vehicle on. The wiring and electronics on this vehicle clearly shot and broken. The engine in bad shape, but it is running for the moment.
Is there still someone shooting at us?
No, the defensive barricade seemingly deactivated after being expended.
Oh, okay. Okay. Well, great.
I'm just gonna open my toolbox
Okay.
and just really slowly, like in a fugue state, just pull this pump action shotgun out of this toolbox and just start looking
Small.
around the car.
Okay. From the survivors extra equipment, providing a unique semblance of additional advantage. Rose now carrying a bullpup shotgun with a removed barrel. Under cradle now heavy gripped as you see Rose's form emerge from the concussion symptoms and expulsion of vomit from the back seat now to brandishing a rather powerful and effective weapon. You have these berserkers still sprinting towards you. What would you like to do?
Can I roll down a window
Sure.
and just
Ooh. Well, most of them are destroyed at this point anyway,
or just
so
crack one with the
sure. Yeah.
Are any of them even still here?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm gonna I don't really know how this works. Let's try. I've seen this in a video game. I'm gonna try to fire this gun at one of them that's running towards us.
Make an effort to be as accurate as possible with your newfound instrument.
Okay. Okay. 7?
Okay, so this berserker sprinting towards you, and as it comes close, you hear this cock and shot as Rose lets off a massive blast in the direction of this berserker. As it falls down to the ground, catching most of its shoulder, you see it roll and scramble, this flailing, disconnected portion of body disappearing quickly off to the side of the road, trying to obscure, not mindlessly charging, but immediately popping up only a moment later and beginning to follow that same instinctual path. Limited defensive mechanism, but otherwise still pushing extremely hard in your direction. The head on such a quick and nimble target, not easy to address. And on the opposite side of the vehicle, you still have another berserker sprinting towards you. I'll say Justin and Crow, as D brings the vehicle to life, and Rose, now wielding the pump action shotgun, fires off her first round. What are either of you doing?
Where the fuck did you get that?
The guy with the man showed the one before. How do I make it go again?
Rack this. Pump it.
Okay, I'll do what he says.
Okay, so the immediate racking of another round, the gun ready and live to fire once more. D beginning to slam on the gas, the car struggling and fighting to charge forward, and only probably a 15-minute drive behind you in a relatively narrow and angled passageway, so not a ton of ground to recover, but I'm going to say that leaves Justin and Crow on the opposite side of the vehicle, as this berserker continues sprinting towards you. Would either of you like to respond?
I've got a fresh magazine in here. I'm gonna lick off as many shots as I can.
Okay. Go ahead and make an effort to be as accurate as possible. Justin, what are you doing?
Gonna use my 1.5 good arms to close and latch the toolbox now that it is empty of the shotgun, and hold it in my good arm just in case I need to smack somebody.
Okay, sure. And Crow, the accuracy?
Crazy 8.
Okay, so as you see on the opposite side this berserker sprinting towards you, trying to maintain balance for a brief moment as the car begins to move, letting off 3 rounds, trying to slowly dial in and get the gauge as this sprinting zombie moves towards you. It leaps into the air as you are driving by it. The first round caught in the abdomen as you quickly adjust. Second one in the chest, looking to make a third directly in the head before it lands, trying to swipe and rip you from the vehicle. And you find yourself plastered and crushed against the frame of the door as its limp and dead form smashes into you before you're able to shuck it off, tumbling it to the ground. Immediately thereafter, Rose, as you see Pro on the opposite side of the vehicle pushing off this Xerk form before readjusting it, kind of stretching out its back just a touch. The berserker that you shot in the roadway beforehand is currently in pursuit of your vehicle. Go ahead and make an effort to be as accurate as possible.
Okay.
And within probably the first 100 or so feet of driving, what did you roll?
6.
Okay. Again, a shot blasting out and slowing it down, causing it to disappear away, struggling. Its form extremely difficult. Your shot's extremely close to what you would need to damage and put this Xerk down for good, though have only managed to severely limit the use of its upper arms, which in many cases is almost just as good were it not so fast. It hits the ground. You see it slowly get up, try to right itself as its arm folds and falls under the strain damage from your shotgun before it eventually scrambles to its feet, now disappearing quickly in the rearview mirror as D accelerates away. D.
Got some fighting a little bit.
As
Oh
you
my
begin to
goodness.
check the rearview mirror and try to put space between you and the berserkers that had found your location nearby, moving back just the direction where you had been moments ago, where you and Crow saw this boomer Xerk, I would like for you to make a effort to focus, please.
8.
Okay. So, as you are driving down the highway, looking to get into thicker and thicker traffic, you again see this banshee Xerk screaming out in the roadway. As you begin to move towards it, there is nothing devoid of the immediate surroundings of Xerk that are continuing to gather along the roadside to draw your attention. The vehicle pushes and smashes through it, its lower body disappearing away, making now this oval uniformity around your vehicle of dents and dings that are beginning to slowly crush it and compound it down into more of a rounded shape. However, based on the distance covered, it seems as if after charging through that last Xerk, you would likely be safe for a moment. Until from across the highway divider, this hunter leaps across and now, with no semblance of stealth or advantage, charges its fingered claws in through the roof itself and begins punching in through the roof of the vehicle. Go ahead and make an effort to be as accurate as possible here, Crow. And D, I would like for you to make an effort to endure or focus, your call. Rose or Justin, are either of you doing anything at all?
Eight.
Not in this moment. I think I'm just ducking down into the seat as much as possible. Like the gun is, I'm holding it, but I don't. This seems bad.
Okay.
I am holding the toolbox, and I am prepared, should anything come within arm's reach, to strike it as hard as I can with one arm with the toolbox.
So this Xerk, clearly different than some of the others that you've experienced, and as the speed continues to take the forefront of the chaos roiling around you, this Xerk charging and stabbing through the roof of your vehicle with aggression and loud guttural screams. You begin to see like a sardine can peeled away as this hand immediately charges in through this clawed blade of fingers recklessly swiping around.
I smack it with
Justin,
the toolbox.
I will provide you an opportunity to go ahead and make an effort to brawl. Crow, none of your previous shots seem to have landed in a diminishing or devastating enough location to provide immediate reprieve from your assailant here. Would anyone else like to try anything?
Rose.
Yeah, I'm just gonna like pull the shotgun and fire up into the air.
Okay, so make an effort to be as accurate as possible here. Actually, I'm gonna say first, give me an effort to focus.
Sure, that's fair.
My focus roll was a 6.
So,
Using a well prepared on that brawl, I got a 6 as well.
Okay.
plus 2. 8 total.
Okay. So, Rose, do please make an effort with accuracy for me. Justin, as the claw darts around the inside, you find the toolbox blocking this blade and pointed finger as it digs into the bottom of the toolbox before trying to immediately punch at the upper arm that is now stuck into the center portion of the vehicle. D, as you are driving, this hand is whipping all around, providing significant instability for your control of the vehicle. You are going to begin to careen and slightly lose a little bit of control, specifically as this vehicle is picking up pace and you're not monitoring maybe the touch and go aspect of it as this Xerk Hunter is now mounting your vehicle. Justin, your punch, your thrust with your assaulting weapon here does seem to provide you some protection and mitigate some of the reach of the Xerk, however, not in and of itself dealing a significant amount of damage given the limited exposure to its sensitive areas. Crow, D, and Rose. I would like for all of you to please roll 1d4.
Do you wanna? I used a well prepared to fire my weapon since Crow told me how it works. And that's
Okay.
a 12.
Okay, sure.
My 1d4 is a 2.
Okay. So, Rose, as you begin to try and focus and dial it in, your task made more difficult as D begins to lose control and or focus, depending on how you'd like to orchestrate that one way or the other. But this loud blast immediately kicking out through the interior of the car, sending all of you into this state of ears ringing tinnitus, fueled pain that instantly sets across all of you, that hears this. The body of the hunter Xerk quickly falling from the vehicle. A portion of the fingers dropping into the center console as the upper body disappears away in the rear view as your car continues to speed away. A single shot shredding the angle directly up the arm towards the head of this Xerk. A devastating strike landed by Rose. But in the chaos that preceded it moments before, D, please make an infection roll. As you now look over Crow and see that D has sustained a scratch on the arm. The hunter Xerk disappearing away. Crow, the immediate worry and concern washing over and falling across you as you see this slash, this telltale signature of damage from an infected creature across D's arm. Rose, your ears devastated, your mind shattered and broken from both previous day's events and literally the situation you find yourself in, and Justin, your heart throbbing felt through your forearm as well as your chest. The vehicle continues to carry forward till you arrive back
Oh, no.
at the barricade.
Stop the car. We can take the arm. We can save you. We can take it off.
What does D do?
I'll stop the car.
What's happening?
Stay in the car. I'm gonna get out. Go back towards the trunk. Where is the scratch?
Your upper arm.
I'm gonna go back to the trunk. That's where the saw is, right?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
It's just not gonna work, is it?
It's got to. I need you. We have to try.
Shit. Fuck! How do you make it this far and... Okay. I'm gonna die either way, right? So might as well try.
Justin, pop the hood. Pop the hood.
Pop the hood, and then I'll actually step out as well and just see if I can assist.
I'm gonna leave me in the car. I'm gonna get out.
All right.
No.
There's a med
What are you
kit.
doing?
She's scratched.
I'm gonna turn to Justin. I need you to get the morphine, please.
Yep. All right. I'll be ready with that and as much gauze as I can hold in one hand.
All right, love. Here's what I'm gonna do. Cut off the arm. Then you're gonna have to put your shoulder to the engine block and hope that it's hot enough to be able to cauterize this.
I'm gonna pull you in real close for a kiss. Along desperate kiss. When I pull back, I'm gonna keep my face really close to if this doesn't work, handle it.
It's gonna work.
Promise
It's
me.
gonna work.
Promise me.
I promise.
I don't want to be one of those fuckers.
I promise.
I love you.
Love you too. Take her around to the front of the car to get as close to the engine block as we can. I'm gonna do it.
And to those of you out there surviving, stay safe. Stay alive.